Hey everybody, welcome back to the 80s Slashers YouTube channel. In this video, I will be ranking my top 5 slashers from the year 1984. Now, if you haven't already done so, you might want to go back and watch my previous video, the 1984, the year in slashers, before checking this video out. Just to give you more of a, an overall idea of the year in general. But in that video, I discussed how 1984 was not only a year with like a ton of really good and fun slashers, but it was one of the most important years in all of the genre, in my opinion, of course. Just in 1984 alone, we got, we saw the introduction of Tommy Jarvis, one of, the most well-known final guys in the entire genre. We got the introduction of Freddy Krueger, one of the biggest iconic horror villains of all time. We got the death of Jason Voorhees. The death of Jason Voorhees, I guess, which was a big deal. And we also got a controversy surrounding the film Silent Night, Deadly Night, which, it almost brought down the entire genre. At least it slammed the brakes on it for a good while. So yeah, if you want to hear more, about that, go back and watch, my previous video just to get, maybe just a little better understanding of, the year as a whole. But yeah, 1984. So this is a year I view as one of the strongest in the entire decade. The films released this year all seem to be just they all seem to just be like a whole lot of fun. You know, in some ways, this is like the last year in the 80s that slashers had kind of like the tone and feel of some of like the earlier slashers in the decade. After this, the films started to experiment a little with the formula. We saw a lot of supernatural slashers and just some, tweaking with like just, the formula that developed in 1980 and and got us to where we're at so far. It they started to stray from it, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just when you look at the late 80s slashers and the early 80s, they feel different, for the most part. There's exceptions, of course. But yeah, so this is kind of like the last hurrah, in my opinion, the last hurrah of like the classic, the golden age of the slasher. Yeah. All right. So with all that out of the way, let's just get right into it and take a look at the top five. All right. So coming in at number five, we have The Initiation. Now this is a pretty fun film. I really enjoy the settings involved. And when I say settings, it's basically this film I feel is kind of broken up into two halves. The first part, it's kind of a college slash sorority type setting. We get to see some stuff in like some of the in the classrooms, in the sorority house, in like the dorm room types of things. We get to see some, like as the title, like initiation, like a ceremonies for, pledging into like a college sorority. So there's that aspect of it, which is, I really enjoy college slasher settings. So that's good. That's kind of the first part of the film. It's a good setup. It just has a good, yeah, it just has a good feel. I just like the way that the college campus and the sorority house and all that stuff is portrayed. But then as the film progresses, the second part takes place in a shopping mall. which is fantastic. You know, there's definitely not enough horror films or slasher films set in shopping malls. You know, it's one of these things where one of the pledges, her father like owns the shopping mall. You know, so she has a way to get in. So you know the other sorority sisters, you know, want her to go in. There's like a prank or a like part of it, like the initiation, like a test that they have to do, and if they pass it, then they become part of this sorority kind of thing. Yeah, so they all go into the mall at night, and obviously once inside, things start to go wrong, and people start getting killed, kind of thing. So yeah, it's fantastic. So it's a really nice blend of the two settings for me. Now, the mall in this is not the typical mall. It's kind of hard to explain without seeing it, but it's not like it's not a flashy mall. It's not like when I think of like Chopping Mall and Dawn of the Dead. Like those malls just had like a an 80s and like 70s 80s vibe to them, like a lot of bright neon colors, just really fun places for a film. This one didn't have that. It wasn't super lively, but it was still a mall. It was still really good. Um, yeah, so I really like that about this film, and the finale on this film, like the twist, I thought was really good and kind of creepy, to be honest. Throughout the film, they drop some breadcrumbs, to kind of figure out parts of it. So then, by the time the reveal happens, for me anyway, you kind of piece some of it together, but not the whole thing. And then when the entire mystery is revealed, it's pretty satisfying. And like I said, it was kind of creepy. So yeah, I love the setting on this film, and like in terms of the story and the finale, they did a really good job. So yeah, I like The Initiation. I think it's one that doesn't get talked about enough. Um, yeah, it's a good film. All right, so that was number five. So let's move on to number four. All right, so coming at number four, we have The Mutilator, also known as Fall Break. Now, this is a slasher that no one is going to argue is, a really good, well-made film. But if you were a fan of this genre, I don't know how you just can't find this film fun. I want to call it a low budget film, but it's not really a low budget film. Like I said, as discussed in the 1984 Year in Slashers video, this was about a $400,000 budget. So $500,000, give or take. It and that seems about right, but it just, for whatever reason, whether it's the acting or the dialogue, it kind of has that reputation and feel as like a really low budget film, but it's not. It's pretty well made, to be honest. But it's just a lot of fun. This, for whatever reason, this film is just the stereotypical straight up 80s slasher. It just has everything just to kind of fit the bill. There's like a ridiculous backstory, to set up the upcoming violence spree that you're about to watch. So that's always good to have. There's some terrible acting, complete with the cheesy dialogue. There's a really really cool beach house setting, which is used pretty well. Um, so that I like the setting for this film. There's the opening theme. The opening theme for this is hilarious. It makes you think like you're watching the beginning of like a teen sex comedy, like a Private Resort, Porky's, Spring Break, that kind of thing. It actually says Fall Break. So if you didn't know what this was, you put this on, and the credits play Fall Break, and the way the film starts, and the opening music, you'd be like, oh, I'm about to watch a teen 80s sex comedy, an 80s teen sex comedy. And obviously it's an 80s slasher, but anyway, just kind of a funny thing that this film has. Yeah, and of course it has some gratuitous nudity, and but for me the highlight of the film is just some really good kills. there's there's a scene with like a big hook, um, that is used, that's inserted into one of the women, in this area here. It's just it's pretty brutal. It's stuff like that. There's some decapitations in this film. There's just yeah, it's there's a lot of fun stuff in this film. It's just one of those films that just has a lot of cheesy, charming. Yeah, it just has that cheesy, charming feel to it, and it just screams 80s slasher to me. I don't know. This is just the stereotypical 80s slasher, and I love it. It's fun. It's a really good one, and the cover art is just fantastic. Um, yeah, the mutilator. Really, really enjoy this one. This is a fun one. So yeah, so coming at number four, um, the mutilator. All right, let's move on to number three. All right, so coming at number three, we have Silent Night, Deadly Night. Now, in my opinion, this is the best Christmas 80s slasher there is. It's not even close. I really enjoy this film. Just like The Mutilator, this film screams like stereotypical 80s slasher as well. But it also screams like just 80s Christmas movie in general. It's just kind of a fantastic hybrid of the 80s slasher and the Christmas film, 80s Christmas film. It's just great. I just love it. It, yeah, it just has it all. Like the backstory, that the scene that sets up the whole film. Seeing like a little boy seeing his parents getting murdered by Santa. And then develops like I guess like a PTSD kind of thing, goes crazy and every Christmas time, and it just gets escalates and escalates every year until he just snaps. It's great. It's fantastic. What a it's just a great way to set a Christmas slasher. I absolutely love it. Um, yeah, like the Christmas setting for this is fantastic. It's filmed up in the mountains, like up in an isolated town. It just looks really good. I just like the like the macro setting of the town, the city, whatever you want, village, whatever you want to call it, is great. But then you get the added bonus of a lot of the scenes take place in a toy store at Christmas time in the 80s. It's fantastic. Like you walk through like these shots going down like the toy store rows, and you see like GI Joe toys and He-Man toys, um, Star Wars toys. Like it's fantastic. It just really adds that just nostalgia factor to this film. And then there's like the nudity in this film. There's a ton of nudity in this film. Um, you know, 80s scream queen Linnea Quigley is in this film, and she's like literally naked the entire time she's in it. And her whole scene is just so memorable, so fantastic. It's really good. Um, and then of course there's some great kills, some fantastic kills. Yeah, just this film just has it all. Everything you expect from an 80s slasher, it does, and then you get like the added bonus of it being a Christmas film. It's great. I try to watch this every year at Christmas time, and it really makes, I don't know, it just kind of makes the holiday season, for, I guess, for horror fans, and for me anyway. Like I love to watch this at Christmas time, because I guess it just, I don't know, it just has a really great Christmas feel. So yeah, coming at number three, Silent Night, Deadly Night. All right, let's move on to number two. All right, so coming at number two, we have A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original film, the first film. Now, if anyone has watched many of my videos on this channel, you may know I'm not the biggest fan of this franchise. It's just I won't get into it too much. This isn't my favorite franchise. There's numerous reasons for it. But there is some films I enjoy, and the first film obviously is one of them. Um, this obviously this is an important film. I mentioned that in the previous video, but yeah, we get the introduction of Freddy Krueger, and Freddy's actually scary in this. Like I can't really say that for almost every film after this. There's a couple, um, but the majority of screen time that Freddy has in this franchise, he's not really scary. I don't know what he is. He's jokey. He's whatever. But in the first film, he's actually pretty scary, especially when I was a kid. When I saw this when I was a kid, it really freaked me out. It freaked out every kid. And it wasn't just Freddy, because he was for sure freaky. Um, but it's just it's just the concept that Wes Craven came up with. Getting killed in your sleep. It's just so original and unique of an idea. It's why this film and the franchise went on to such heights. Um, it just really struck a nerve with people. And it's brilliant. Like the screenwriting. It's just the idea of this franchise is just it's just fantastic. And it probably wasn't done as well in any other film as it was in the first film. Um, but yeah, like everything about this film is like I said, the writing is really good, like really good direction. The acting is good. It's a really well made film. It's a solid horror film. Um, on its own, like if I don't even include it as a slasher, like it would just it's just a solid horror film. But it's an 80s slasher. I'll throw it in there. I have some of the other ones, well, yeah, but yeah, like I said, this is just an important film for the genre, and it's a really nostalgic film for me. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much to say about this. I don't want to get on tangents about the whole franchise because I have my thoughts, but yeah, the original Nightmare on Elm Street coming in at number two. All right, let's take a look at number one. All right, so coming at number one, of course, is Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Again, anyone who's seen any of my videos on here, this is probably no surprise. I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan. Um, yeah, again, kind of a theme for this video, I guess. But this is a film that is, this is a stereotypical 80s slasher. This is what an 80s slasher should be, like Mutilator and Silent Night Deadly Night. Um they're definitely that, but they're on kind of um a lesser known scale, this is a big film. This is a popular film, and this is the film that it just screams 80s slasher. This is what when people think of the Friday the 13th franchise, a lot of people probably think of this film. It just has everything. Like this film literally has everything you would want in an 80s slasher. Obviously, fantastic killer in Jason Voorhees, and the actor playing in Ted White is probably my one. Probably one of my favorite actors. Like him and Richard Brooker from Part Three. I go back and forth on, but they're for me they're the two best. Ted White is just he just moves so fast with a purpose, and he's aggressive and he's scary. He doesn't he's not this slow lumbering Jason. Like he will he'll explode on people, and he's violent and just terrifying. Fantastic killer. And like I said, we get like Tommy Jarvis, final guy. There wasn't too many final guys in the genre. You get a lot of final girls, and there was some, but in this one we get the first time we see Tommy Jarvis with little Corey Feldman, and he's fantastic in his whole his whole character arc. From the beginning to the end, and through the next two films, is fantastic. So yeah, really good. The location, of course, is always great with these films. In and around Camp Crystal Lake. Um, And this one was good, kind of off the beaten path, not like a camp, but a house on the lake, and two houses on the lake. And yeah, it was just yeah, great setting, fantastic. Of course, we had lots of nudity in this film. We had some of the best kills in the entire franchise. Obviously we have Tom Savini doing the practical effects on here, and some of the best kills. Like, oh man, there's just so many, and there's a lot of kills in this film, and they're all really good. Yeah, you can't do much better than that. Yeah, Crispin Glover, of course. Him and his little dance and his infamous death. There's just so many memorable things that stand out for me with this film. And a lot of it's nostalgic. I understand. I'm biased towards this franchise, but this really is, and this is such a it's a really well made film. Joseph Zito was the director, and he just, I don't know, he just really did 80s slashers really well. He also directed The Prowler, another one of my favorites from '81, and yeah, yeah, this film is just fantastic. I don't know what else to say. Like, everyone knows about this film. This is probably my second favorite in the entire franchise after the original. Like, I love the original film. This is probably my second favorite in the entire franchise. Um, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I love this film. There's nothing more I can say. It may be the best example of the stereotypical '80s slasher. It just had it all. So yeah, that's it. That's the entire top five rankings from 1984. So yeah, guys. So hope you enjoyed that. If, like I said, if you hadn't seen the 1984 Year in Slashers video, I'll link to it below in the description, but I'll also put one up on the screen here. And if you want to see a few of these films, I've already reviewed on the channel, including Silent Night, Deadly Night, Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'll put my playlist for my all my reviews on the channel here. All right, guys, so that's it. So yeah, until next time. All right, see ya.